Deadly Waters is the second in the Inspector Horton marine mystery series of crime novels, and Horton has a new case to solve here. In his last case, he's been cleared of allegations of rape, and he's looking forward to being on the major crime team. So I'm going to read a short piece from Deadly Waters. It's Friday and it's 5:45 a.m. "Thought you might like this," Sergeant Cantelli said, placing a brown plastic beaker on Horton's desk. Horton stared at the frothy liquid that resembled dirty washing up water and said, "Are you trying to poison me? It might help keep you awake. Doesn't seem to be doing the trick with you." Horton thought Cantelli looked like something they'd exhumed from Milton Cemetery. "Sit down before you fall down." "My bones ache, my head's thumping, and I think I've caught a cold." Cantelli sneezed just to prove it. "That's about all we did catch," Horton replied with bitterness. All they had to show for over 90 minutes of surveillance crouched in a fishing boat at Portsmouth Town Camber in the pouring rain was a bag full of stolen antiques and Mickey Johnson, who had conveniently lost his voice. "Any joy finding out who Johnson's victims are?" Horton asked, spinning round in his chair and plucking his socks and trainers off the radiator where he had left them to dry after interviewing Mickey. "Nothing. We won't know who he's turned over until they report it or Mickey decides to confide in us. I could wring his scrawny neck." Horton slipped on his trainers and straightened up with a groan. Cantelli wasn't the only ones whose bones were protesting. "What about the boat?" It certainly wasn't Johnson's unless Social Security benefit had just got a hell of a lot better. If it hadn't been for that blessed drunk stumbling onto it by mistake, then Horton would have caught both of their antiques thieves and not just Johnson. He recalled with a stab of shame how he'd been poleaxed with cramp during the chase across the Cathedral Green after Johnson's young accomplice. He'd given uniform a description, but it wasn't much to go on. It had been too dark and the lad had been wearing a hoodie. Cantelli said, "There was nothing on it to give us an idea. Sergeant Elkins says he'll try the Town Camber offices when they're open." "What bugs me is that antiques aren't usually Mickey Johnson's thing. DVDs, televisions, computers, jewellery and money, yes, but paintings? Mickey couldn't tell a valuable painting from a picture postcard, and yet he stole some by William Wiley on that first job." "Perhaps the runaway youth is the brains behind the operation," Cantelli ventured, yawning wildly. Somehow Horton couldn't see it. Pulling his sailing jacket off the radiator and draping it over the coat stand next to his leather biker's jacket, he said, "What else has come in?" Clearly with an effort, Cantelli stirred himself to reply. "There's been a break-in at the Ex-Forces Club in Lamport and another at the Sir Wilberforce Cutler School. The steward at the club went to accident and emergency, but it was just a surface head wound. Some cigarettes and booze were stolen." "And the school?" "Building material." "I'll send someone round in the morning." It was morning, almost 6 o'clock. Horton was ready for his bed, and Cantelli looked as though he was about to fall asleep in the chair. He told Cantelli to get off home. He would do the same after putting the finishing touches to his report. But he had hardly got started when his phone rang. It was Sergeant Elkins of the Marine Unit. "The Langstone Harbour master's just radioed us, Inspector. A fisherman has reported seeing something on the Mulberry, and he thinks we should take a look."